Have you ever been so broken that people actually laughed at your pain? I'm talking about the kind of moment where you're literally dying inside and the people who swore to love you are standing over you, smiling. What would you do in that moment? Would you beg? Would you break? Or would you memorize every face, every word, every cruel laugh, and spend the next year turning their entire world into ash? Because that's exactly what I did. Picture this. I'm 9 months pregnant, on my hands and knees in a gravel driveway at 2 in the morning. My water's broken. I'm in full labor. Rain is hammering down so hard I can barely breathe. And my mother-in-law is standing in the doorway of a 52-room mansion, watching me scream in agony, and she says 5 words I'll never forget. You were always just paperwork. Not even human to her, just paperwork. Behind her, my husband has his arm around another pregnant woman, and they're both watching me like I'm entertainment. Like my pain is something they planned. And here's the part that still gives me chills. They had no idea I'd already copied every file on his computer. They had no idea I knew about the $360 million in embezzled funds. They had no idea that the woman I'd become in that moment, soaked and screaming and utterly destroyed, would be the same woman who'd stand in a courtroom 8 months later and watch every single one of them get arrested. My name is Tessa Hartley, and this is how I went from victim to destroyer. But before I take you through every strategic move I made to dismantle them, I need something from you. Hit subscribe right now. Not later, right now. Because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of revenge story that'll make you stand up and cheer. The kind where the good guy actually wins and the monsters actually pay. Turn on those notifications because I post stories like this every single week. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. The courtroom scene alone went viral with over 80 million views. Now let me take you back 3 years to when I still believed in fairy tales. Before I walk you through every calculated move I made to destroy them, I need you to do something critical right now. Hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell because what I'm about to tell you has more reversals than anything Hollywood could write. I guarantee you won't predict what happens next. The payback I orchestrated was so methodical, so devastating, that even now I sometimes wonder if I actually had the courage to go through with it. So stick around until the final reveal because what unfolded in that federal courthouse became a media sensation that dominated every news cycle for months. Let me rewind to where this horror story actually started. I met Lachlan Ashford 3 years ago at a fintech conference in Sydney. I was 27, working as a senior investment analyst at a firm you've probably never heard of. He was 33, heir to a $3.6 billion mining and property empire. And when he looked at me, I swear to God, I felt chosen. Special. Like I'd won some cosmic lottery. He pursued me hard. Flowers every week. Handwritten notes. He'd text me at midnight just to say he was thinking about me. For 8 months, I floated on air. When he proposed on a private yacht in Sydney Harbor with a 5-carat diamond and an actual string quartet, I cried so hard I could barely say yes. I thought I'd found my person. I thought I'd found forever. I was such a bloody fool. The Ashford estate isn't a house. It's a statement. 52 rooms spread across waterfront property in Point Piper that's worth more than some countries. There's a staff of 14 people whose only job is to make sure the family never has to do anything for themselves. I got lost on my second day trying to find the kitchen. Actually lost in my own home. The wedding was 350 guests, all of them dripping money and social status. I wore a dress that cost $48,000. For one shining day, I was Cinderella, but Cinderella's story ends at midnight. Mine kept going and it got dark fast. Georgina Ashford, Lachlan's mother, is the kind of woman who could cut you to pieces with a smile and you'd thank her for it. Always perfectly dressed in Chanel and Hermes, always impeccably composed, and absolutely ruthless. She made it clear from day one that I was an outsider who'd never belong. I'd come downstairs to find her scrolling through my phone. She'd comment on my food choices at dinner. "Are you sure you need that second helping, darling? You'll want to watch your figure now that you're an Ashford." The household staff ignored me unless Georgina was watching. I found out later she'd explicitly told them I wasn't to be treated as family. I was staff level, maybe below. Lachlan's brother Reese was a nightmare in expensive suits. He'd throw parties and deliberately not tell me. I'd walk into our home to find 80 people I'd never met, and he'd announce loudly, "Oh look, Tessa's here. Didn't think this crowd was really your scene, sweetheart." His father Bruce barely looked at me. At family dinners, he'd literally stare through me when I spoke like I was invisible. But God, I tried. I tried so hard to earn their approval, to become worthy of the Ashford name. I took etiquette lessons. I volunteered at their charity events. I smiled through every insult, every dismissal, every reminder that I'd always be beneath them. Then I got pregnant. Finally, I thought, finally something that'll make them see me as family. I announced it at Sunday dinner, my voice shaking with hope and nerves. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet. It was violent. Georgina's wine glass didn't just fall. She threw it. It exploded against the marble fireplace, red wine running down the white stone like arterial blood. Reese didn't laugh. He said, "Jesus Christ, Lachlan. Really? Like I'd done something wrong. Like the baby was an inconvenience instead of their grandchild." And Lachlan's face, God, his face went gray. Not surprised. Not excited. Horrified. That's when I knew. Something was very, very wrong. Couldn't sleep that night. Around 2 in the morning, I heard Lachlan's voice coming from his study, angry and desperate. I crept down the hallway in bare feet and stood outside the door, my heart pounding. A woman's voice came through crystal clear. "You promised me, Lachlan. You swore we'd be together before the end of the year. What am I supposed to do with this information now?" My whole world stopped. I stood there, one hand on my barely showing belly, and felt everything I'd believed in shatter. After that night, I watched, really watched. Lachlan started coming home at midnight, sometimes later. He'd take calls and leave the room mid-conversation. He stopped touching me entirely. No kisses goodbye. No hand-holding. Nothing. At 4 months pregnant, he moved into a guest room 3 doors down from ours. Said he didn't want his snoring to disturb my sleep. I wanted so badly to believe him, but at 6 months I followed him. I'm not proud of it, but I did what I had to do. He told me he had an investor dinner that would run late. I waited 30 minutes, ordered an Uber, and followed his car through Sydney traffic. He drove to a luxury apartment building in Darling Harbour. I sat in that Uber for 4 hours in pouring rain, hands on my enormous belly, watching the entrance. When they finally came out together, I died inside. She was everything I wasn't. Tall, willowy, blonde hair that probably cost more to maintain than my old car payment. And they kissed. Not a peck. A real kiss. His hand cradling her face like she was precious. Like she was his. I took photos with shaking hands, tears streaming so fast I could barely see the screen. Her name was Sienna Crawford, Vice President of Strategic Development at Ashford Global. 5 years with the company. 5 years. Which meant the timeline. Oh God, the timeline. They were together before he even met me. Every moment of our relationship, every promise, every I love you, was built on lies. When I confronted him, I expected lies. I expected him to at least try to deny it. He didn't. He just looked tired and annoyed, like I was being inconvenient. Sienna gets my world, Tessa. She's always gotten it. You're nice, really, but you never belonged here. Each word was a knife. Then why marry me? My voice broke. He had the audacity to smile. You really haven't figured it out? Your firm owned the patents we needed for the autonomous mining systems. Marriage was faster than negotiation. Cheaper too in the long run. Once we had the IP transferred, you were supposed to take a settlement and disappear quietly. The pregnancy is unfortunate, but we'll handle it. I was 7 months pregnant, standing in my own home, realizing I'd never been a wife. I'd been an acquisition, a business deal, a corporate maneuver. The worst came at 8 months. Georgina summoned me to the formal lounge. Not asked, summoned. I waddled down those stairs, back screaming, ankles swollen like balloons. They were all there waiting. Georgina, Reese, Bruce, sitting like a panel of judges about to deliver a sentence. Divorce papers sat on the mahogany table. 200,000, Georgina said, not even looking at me. Sign now, Be grateful we're offering anything. Reese leaned back in his chair, smirking. Come on, Tessa. You had to know this was coming. A girl like you, from where you're from, you were never going to be a real Ashford. Bruce spoke for maybe the third time in our entire relationship. Take it or get nothing. Your call. The door opened before I could respond. Sienna walked in, and I felt my blood turn to ice water. She was pregnant. Visibly, unmistakably pregnant. About 5 or 6 months along. She walked straight to Lachlan and kissed him, slow and deliberate, making sure I saw every second. Georgina smiled at her. Actually smiled. This is the child who'll inherit everything. Your baby will have nothing. Not the name, not the money, not the legacy. Nothing. Sienna looked at me with fake sympathy that made my skin crawl. I know this is difficult for you, but it's really for the best. You'll see that eventually. I looked at all of them, these people who'd promised to be my family, and I said one word. No. That single word changed everything. Within 24 hours, they changed every lock in the house. I was moved to the staff quarters, a windowless room off the kitchen that smelled like bleach and old food. They cut my meals to one small plate 3 times a day. Georgina claimed it was for the baby's health. I was starving constantly, weak, dizzy. They canceled all my medical appointments. When I tried to book new ones, I discovered they'd terminated my health insurance entirely. And then Sienna moved in, into my home, into my bedroom. She wore my jewelry, the antique pieces that were supposed to be family heirlooms passed to me. She redecorated the nursery I designed, painting over the soft yellow walls with cold white. She made me watch everything. They'd walk past my little room holding hands. They'd kiss in the hallway where I could see. One morning, I found them having breakfast in bed in what used to be my room. Sienna saw me and waved cheerfully like we were friends. I'd cry every night, hands on my belly, whispering to my baby, I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry you're being born into this. The nightmare peaked at 1:30 on a Friday morning. I woke to wetness and pain so intense I couldn't breathe. My water had broken. Contractions hit like being ripped in half every 2 minutes. I screamed for help, stumbling into the dark hallway in my nightgown, leaving a trail of fluid behind me. The mansion was silent as a tomb. Then Georgina appeared, hair perfect even at this hour, wearing a silk dressing gown that probably cost more than an ambulance ride. What's all this noise? Not concerned, irritated. The baby? I gasped, doubling over. It's coming. Please, I need hospital. She looked at me like I'd interrupted something important. First babies take 12 hours minimum. You're being hysterical. Go back to bed. Please, I begged, tears and snot running down my face. Please, something's wrong. The pain, it's too much, too fast. She turned her back on me, just walked away down the hall and closed her bedroom door. Left me there in the dark, contracting, terrified and completely alone. I crawled to Lachlan's new bedroom, literally crawled on my hands and knees, leaving a trail on their expensive carpet. I pushed the door open. He was in bed with Sienna, both of them looking at me like I'd walked into a business meeting uninvited. Lachlan, I could barely speak through the pain. The baby's coming. I need help. Please. He looked at Sienna, actually looked at her like he needed permission. I can't leave right now, he said. Sienna's not feeling well. I was on the floor in labor, begging. And he chose her. Sienna laughed. Not a polite chuckle. A real laugh. Maybe nature's fixing our problem for us. Those words. I can still hear them. The cruelty was so pure it was almost artistic. At 2:47 a.m., Georgina called security. There's someone who needs to be removed from the property. 2 guards came, both of them looking uncomfortable as hell. I was screaming, crying, begging them to call an ambulance. Reese appeared at the top of the stairs with his phone out, filming, laughing like this was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. This is going to get so many views, he said. They dragged me outside. It was pissing down rain, that cold Sydney winter rain that cuts through everything. My nightgown was soaked in seconds. They threw a suitcase in the gravel next to me. Georgina stood in the doorway, warm and dry. "You were paperwork, darling. A transaction. And now you're canceled." Bruce appeared behind her. "Should have taken the money." The gates closed with a mechanical hum. I collapsed on the wet gravel, screaming, contracting every 90 seconds now, completely abandoned. Then I heard running footsteps. An elderly man in a bathrobe came sprinting from the neighboring property. My God, what have they done? His name was Malcolm Carmichael, retired judge, and he drove me to hospital himself, one hand on the wheel, one hand holding mine. "What they've done is criminal," he kept saying. "Criminal." I gave birth to my daughter Lily at 5:17 a.m. She came out screaming, pink and perfect and healthy. And I had nothing. No home, no money, no family, no future. I held her and sobbed. "I have nothing to give you. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry." Malcolm sat beside my hospital bed. This stranger who'd shown me more humanity than my own husband. "You have something they underestimated," he said quietly. "You have rage, and I'm going to teach you how to weaponize it." Malcolm Carmichael wasn't just any retired judge. He was the judge, the one who'd taken down the Maxwell Corporation in 2018, exposed the corruption in the Davies banking scandal, destroyed the Thornton real estate empire. He was a legend, and he hated the Ashfords. 10 years ago, they'd bankrupted his son's tech startup through illegal IP theft and corporate espionage. He'd been waiting for a way to take them down ever since. "What do you need?" I asked him. "Everything," he said. "Every file, every secret, every piece of dirt you've ever seen." That's when I remembered. 3 months ago, when I first suspected the affair, I'd copied Lachlan's home computer. Every file, every email, every document. I'd backed it all up to an encrypted cloud drive just in case. When Malcolm and I went through those files in my hospital room, with my newborn daughter sleeping beside me, we found a goldmine. Ashford Global had been embezzling investor funds for 6 years. $387 million hidden in shell companies in the Cayman Islands. They'd been bribing government officials to secure mining contracts. Tax evasion on a massive scale. Insider trading. Money laundering. And Sienna wasn't just the mistress. She was the architect. She'd designed the entire system. Lachlan was involved, but Sienna was the mastermind. And Georgina knew everything. She'd been signing off on the cover-ups for years. But that wasn't the best part. Deep in those files, I found something that made me smile for the first time in months. Sienna was having an affair with Bruce, Lachlan's father. I had emails between them, explicit and damning. Hotel receipts, photos, text messages talking about their future together. And Reese knew. He'd been helping them because Sienna had promised him the CEO position once they eliminated Lachlan and took full control of the company. They were all betraying each other, and I had proof of everything. Malcolm and I spent 8 months building an airtight case. We filed for custody, divorce, emotional damages, child endangerment. But that was just the visible lawsuit. The real work happened in the shadows. I sent all the financial evidence anonymously to the Australian Federal Police and ASIC. Not all at once. Piece by piece, week by week, making them build their own case independently so it wouldn't look like a vendetta. I sent the audio recording from that night to every media outlet in Australia. 9 News, ABC, 7, The Guardian, SMH. The recording of me screaming in labor, begging for help, while they laughed. It went viral in hours. 73 million views in 2 days. Billionaire cruelty started trending globally. People were outraged, properly outraged. There were protests outside the Ashford estate. Ashford Global stock went into freefall. 42% down in 3 days. Major investors pulled out. BHP canceled their partnership. Rio Tinto severed ties. The board of directors started calling emergency meetings. Then I created the social media accounts. Anonymous accounts that started posting evidence. A photo here, an email there, hotel receipts, text messages. Each post strategically timed to cause maximum damage. The internet became my weapon. Then came the court date. The courtroom was packed. Media everywhere. International press. The Ashford family arrived like they were attending a gala. Designer suits, practiced smiles, radiating that untouchable wealth. Lachlan and Sienna sat together, and I swear to God, they were smirking. Georgina wore cream and pearls, playing the dignified matriarch. I arrived in a simple black dress, carrying 6-month-old Lily. I looked each of them in the eye, and I smiled, because I knew what was coming, and they had no idea. Malcolm stood and played the audio, the full recording from that night. My screaming, my begging, Georgina's cold refusal, Sienna's laughter, Lachlan choosing his mistress over his wife in labor. The jury was crying. Several people in the gallery were openly sobbing. Georgina started screaming, "This is edited. This is taken out of context." The judge banged his gavel. "Mrs. Ashford, one more outburst and you'll be removed." But Malcolm wasn't done. He played a second recording. Sienna and Bruce in a hotel room, talking about their affair, talking about their plan to eliminate Lachlan from the company's succession, talking about how they'd been sleeping together for 18 months, talking about the baby she was carrying. Bruce's baby, not Lachlan's. The courtroom exploded. Lachlan lunged at his father across the aisle, screaming. Security grabbed him. Georgina fainted. Actually fainted. Reese started yelling at Sienna. All their composure, all that carefully maintained Ashford dignity, gone in seconds. Pure chaos. Then Malcolm delivered the killing blow. "Your Honor, I have DNA evidence proving that Sienna Crawford's child belongs to Bruce Ashford, not Lachlan Ashford. Ms. Crawford has been conducting affairs with both father and son simultaneously. Her plan was to marry Lachlan, bear Bruce's child, and ultimately seize control of the family trust. Reese Ashford has been complicit in this scheme in exchange for the CEO position." The silence was deafening. Then Lachlan made this sound. Not a scream, not a word, just this broken animal sound of complete betrayal. The legendary Ashford family was imploding in open court, and every camera in the room was capturing it. The judge's ruling was comprehensive. Full sole custody of Lily with 0 unsupervised visitation rights for Lachlan. $21 million in settlement. Court-mandated public apologies from each family member to be published in major newspapers. Permanent restraining orders. But the criminal charges were the real victory. The AFP arrested Sienna as she tried to leave through a side exit. Fraud, conspiracy, embezzlement. Bruce was charged with bribery, money laundering, and conspiracy. Georgina faced charges as an accessory and for attempting to obstruct justice. Reese got conspiracy charges. And Lachlan? The family cut him off completely. Bruce literally told reporters outside the courthouse, "My son is weak, incompetent, and unworthy of the Ashford name." Disowned him right there. Ashford Global filed for bankruptcy 7 months later. $3.2 billion in concealed debt was exposed. The company that had existed for 4 generations ceased to exist. Major investors filed lawsuits. Criminal investigations opened in 3 countries. I watched every news report while nursing Lily, and I felt something I hadn't felt in over a year. Peace. Where are they now? Bruce is in prison serving 17 years. His health is failing. He had a stroke last year. Georgina is under psychiatric hold after a complete mental breakdown. She doesn't recognize her own reflection anymore. Lachlan works as a regional manager for a mid-tier consulting firm in Perth. He lives in a 1-bedroom apartment. He's alone. He pays child support every month, and he gets to see Lily once a month for 2 hours, supervised by a social worker. She doesn't call him Daddy. She calls him Lachlan. Reese was blacklisted from every industry he tried to enter. Last I heard, he's doing sales calls from home. And Sienna? 22 years in federal prison. Her daughter is being raised by her elderly mother in regional Queensland. And me? I founded Phoenix Rising Legal Alliance, a nonprofit that specifically helps women escape and fight back against wealthy families trying to destroy them. We've helped over 400 women in 3 years. I live in a gorgeous house in Mossman that I bought with my own money. Lily is 4 years old now. She's brilliant, funny, and completely loved. She knows nothing about the darkness of her birth. Malcolm is her godfather. We have Sunday dinners where he tells her stories and she climbs all over him like he's a jungle gym. I met someone. His name is Daniel Harper. He teaches music at Lily's preschool. He's kind, patient, genuine. Everything Lachlan pretended to be. We got married last year in a tiny ceremony on the beach. Just us, Lily, Malcolm, and a handful of real friends. I'm pregnant again, due in 6 weeks. This time, I'm surrounded by love that's real. I wrote a book called Paperwork, How I Destroyed the Family That Destroyed Me. It hit #1 on every bestseller list. I've done speaking tours internationally, TED Talks, conference keynotes, magazine covers. I talk about strategic resistance, about documenting everything, about refusing to be a victim. The video from my labor night has been viewed over 120 million times globally. It sparked legislative changes in 3 states about protecting pregnant women from domestic abuse. They thought throwing me out while I was in labor would break me permanently. They thought I was helpless, powerless, too weak to fight back. They made one critical error. They underestimated rage when it's focused, when it's patient, when it's strategic. Here's what I learned through all of this. Revenge isn't about anger. It's about documentation. It's about waiting. It's about collecting every piece of evidence while they think you're already beaten. It's about letting evil people destroy themselves while you build an airtight case they'll never see coming. My former mother-in-law is in a psychiatric facility, mind shattered. My ex-husband goes home alone every night to a cheap apartment. His name permanently associated with cruelty. His mistress is in a cell. And me? I'm free. I'm happy. I'm powerful in ways I never imagined. If this story moved you, if it made you feel anything at all, I need you to do 3 things right now. First, subscribe. Not later, right now. Because I share stories like this every week. Real stories about people who refuse to stay down. Second, turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Third, drop a comment and tell me honestly, what would you have done? Would you have signed those papers? Taken the money? Or would you have fought back? I genuinely want to know your thoughts. Share this video with someone who needs it. Someone currently in their own battle. Someone who feels powerless. Someone who needs to know that your darkest moment can become your greatest weapon. Because here's the truth they desperately don't want you to understand. They can take your comfort. They can take your money. They can take your dignity temporarily. But they can only take your power if you hand it to them. And I refused. I refused to break. I refused to disappear. I refused to let them win. Look at where I am now. Look at where they are. Remember this. You're not helpless. You're not powerless. You're not defeated unless you accept defeat. Document everything. Build your evidence quietly. Be patient. Be strategic. And when the moment is exactly right, when your case is airtight and devastating, burn their entire world to ashes. I'm Tessa Hartley, and I'll see you next week with another story. Stay strong, fighters. Your comeback isn't just coming. It's inevitable.